Your passions are literally portals for you to access a state of flow. If you can get into a state of flow, that is the optimum learning relationship. Because when you are in a state of flow, you are accessing literally your genius, the genius of your soul. And it is a place where work does not feel like work. It's a place where you feel more energized, more excited, more fulfilled than anything else you can possibly imagine. Since an early age, we are literally taught to forget about our passions and to stop exploring things that actually switch on that genius part of our brain. And that comes because people and social conditioning wants us to basically fit in and be a really good worker and to be someone who can go to work, follow instructions and do the right thing. Where in actual fact, your soul is yearning for you to listen to the curiosity and to the passion that actually captures you. Because if you can tap into that state of flow, into that optimum learning relationship, then you are literally going to resonate so much more than everyone else in the marketplace. If you have an online business, if you're doing whatever it is, if you're in a state of flow and you're basically tapping into your intrinsic passions, then no one can outcompete you. Because in an industry and in a market where everyone looks the same, sounds the same, does the same stuff, the way that you're going to stand out, my friend, is by following the shit that makes you excited. It's following the stuff that when you get into it and you read it and you learn about it or you do something, time goes by like this. Because when you're in a flow state, time doesn't actually register. Completely lost track of time is a good sign to know when you're in a state of flow. And typically that happens when you're tapping into something that you're incredibly passionate about. And that's why understanding and learning how to listen to what your passions are and to follow that curiosity is one of the most important things that you can do as a human being. And that is from a business standpoint, but it's also just from a life standpoint to actually ensure that you're tapping into the full potential of you as a human being. Because it is so easy to do things that other people think you should do. For example, with me, I started my entire career. I went to university to study graphic design. I go into a branding agency, did all of these things, and I started my own creative agency. But really, I was actually just creating the vision that I thought my father wanted for me. So whenever I was doing it, there was something deep down that did not feel right. It always felt like hard work. It always felt like a grind. And deep down, I knew that this wasn't it. This wasn't what I had actually meant to be doing. And so I spent a lot of years in that space of pushing, being frustrated, being burnt out, all of these things because I wasn't in a state of flow. I wasn't following the thing that my heart really wanted to do. And so typically speaking, the state of flow is spoken about in sports a lot. This is actually what athletes call the zone. And so that's why sport has such power around our world and in our culture, because when we see other people tapping into this magical state, it truly has the power to inspire us. There's this awesome passage from this book that I'm reading called Magical Parent, Magical Child. And basically they say that what athletes call the zone, what researchers call flow, and what children call play is actually the optimum learning relationship. So when you see a child playing around, for example, and they're pretending like they're driving a car and they're doing all of these things, that kid is in a state of flow. And so you can actually learn a huge amount from children and the way that they operate their lives because they're completely absorbed in what they're doing and their mind is creating these amazing worlds and these things that are going on all the time. And so as adults, we've actually been enculturated, we've been taught how not to listen to that flow and to listen to that passion because it's playful. It's like you're just fucking about. Whereas athletes have that intrinsic passion for the sport that they're doing so they can tap into that feeling of being in the zone a lot more. Now, I get the zone. I can get into the state of flow. I can get into the zone when I'm working on my business now because I've literally got into a place where I've followed my passion and something that I truly care about. And so you might even call it being focused on the mission. And so whatever your mission is, as long as that can be closely related to something you're incredibly passionate about and incredibly curious about, is going to give you a huge advantage whenever it comes to building a brand or turning your passion into profits, as a lot of people say. So for example, if you're trying to create content on YouTube, if you're trying to create content on Instagram and you're just doing it to try and get more leads or get more money, people are going to feel that intention behind it. But if you are creating from a place of passion and joy and flow, people are going to feel that too. And that's why that content will resonate far deeper with your audience, because they will be able to see the passion and the flow that you're in. The same way as when we watch the Olympics and we watch an athlete just in a state of pure bliss and just completely in the zone, completely lost track of time. So that's kind of the optimum experience and the optimum setup that you need to get for yourself. And if you can't get to that place, and if you feel that you're not operating from a place of flow and passion, then you need to try and get curious, and you need to go inside yourself to try and figure out what that thing is, because that is your unique selling point. That is the thing that's going to draw people to your brand and your business, as opposed to other people's businesses, where everyone is just trying to hack and do the next big shiny thing. Whereas the truest thing is, how can you focus on something that truly intrinsically motivates you from a passionate standpoint? Johnny Miller, a world-class athlete, discovered the optimum learning relationship on the golf course. And so he said, the strongest energy in the world is love. And if you love what you're doing, you've got a chance to hook onto a clear channel. You become energized, your brain is alert, your body feels strong, your intuitions are there, you have clear thinking, you can be the most that you can be. In 1970, when I went out to win the Phoenix Open, it was like I was playing by myself. I had zero anxiety, no tension, no stress. I was completely confident. When I was over the ball, I felt like I was weightless. I had a feeling that I almost could float off the ground. It was a feeling of confidence, but also a warm feeling inside that I was in control. I could dictate my own energy and paint my own picture out on the course. I was able to address every situation and find a creative answer. The shot would talk to me and I'd say fine. It was so much fun, I couldn't wait to hit the next shot. I was taking every shot to the highest level. Most golfers are only in the zone for a round or two in their life. I was in it more often because I would listen to my heart, did all my homework, but I'd listen to the child in me. I listened to the inner voice. What I took from that paragraph, and what I can hope that you take from that paragraph, is how can you start to listen to that inner child inside of you? Because there was once a time in your life where you were able to tap into the state of flow when you were playing. And so what are some of the things that your inner child is trying to encourage you to do now? And the way that I have been able to listen to that is by following things that I'm curious about. So if I have an idea, or if I try to think about like what makes that so special, and for example, for me, I'm passionate about branding. I love seeing great brand experiences. I love going into a business and feeling an amazing experience and seeing beautiful branding on the wall and experiencing someone who's crafted a beautiful brand experience. It's something that just completely lights me up. And so what I've done is built my entire business, BraveBrains, around helping people build their brands, because it's something intrinsically that I am motivated by. Because when I see people communicating their uniqueness out there on social media and in the world and creating brand experiences, it's something that lights me up truly. And so by following that passion, I really don't feel like I work. Work for me is play. And so I'll oftentimes get to the end of an 8 to 10 to 12 hour workday and I will genuinely feel buzzing at the end of it. Now, don't get me wrong, there's sometimes absolutely shit days. But because I'm starting to tap into something that's more intrinsically motivating, I'm able to go a lot further and people are able to resonate with me more, as opposed to other people who are literally just doing this for the money. Now compare that to me a few years ago when I literally was just doing it for the money because I was desperate. I had to try and pay my bills. I didn't know what else to do. And so people, again, could feel that as well. They could feel that I was trying to manipulate them. I was trying to just get them to part ways with their money without actually focusing on the value and the passion that I had behind what I was doing. And so this is why at BraveBrains, we always teach to focus on the mission and not the commission. Because when you focus on the mission, the commission comes, and it comes in fast when you can tap into that mission. The mission is something you're passionate about, and it's something that other people can get behind. We've coached hundreds of people through this process now, and the ones that do incredibly well, the ones that make the most amount of money, are the ones that would literally be doing what they're doing for free. And I've had to teach them how to value themselves and actually charge for what they're doing. But they would literally be doing what they were doing. If money wasn't an object, they would be doing exactly what they are doing now. And that's a very, very surefire way to tell if you are actually doing what you're meant to be doing. Now, that doesn't account for the fact that you've got to make money somehow. So how the fuck do you do it? So for example, with me, one of the best things that I ever did was focus on selling my time for money. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I would take on editing jobs, I would take on video jobs where I would get paid for my set of skills that I was doing. Now, provided that wasn't necessarily something that I was incredibly passionate about, but it allowed me to strategically invest in my next level of education so that I could take and develop my skills in business and eventually get my passion project up to a place that it could take place of the thing that I was using to earn money. So this was the thing, the strategic thing that I would use to basically pay my bills and to invest in my next level of education so that my passion project could rise up and take the place of that and basically get paid for doing what I completely love. Never, ever, ever think that just because you're going to start a business around your passion that you have to completely stop working. That's not the best thing to do in most cases, because you will very, very easily fall into a state of desperation. The best thing you can do is to focus on developing your side hustle and your passion on the side as a project until it builds up enough momentum and builds up enough speed so it can take over the thing that's bringing you in money at the moment. So if you have to get a job to invest in your next level of education, then that's a good idea to do it. Because there are so many people out there on social media who will tell you that you can literally become financially free in 3 months. But they won't tell you that you have to develop a set of skills first. You have to develop the skill of marketing, the skill of sales, the skill of brand building, of content creation. And that takes time. There's no way around it, okay? And so you've got to basically have that intrinsic motivation and that passion that's going to give you the most amount of energy so that you can finally get to the place you want to go without crashing and burning. Because when I was operating in that state, in the scarcity state, I remember making my first $10,000 and I completely was like, fuck, I can't continue this anymore. I really can't. Because the intrinsic motivation was there. I hit a financial goal and there was no reason for me to continue. And so the only way for me to continue is to have a mission that I am incredibly passionate about. Okay? And so that, my friend, is really, really important for you to understand if you have a business right now, is to start to shift and follow the curiosity and the passion that you have, because that's going to be your USP. That's the thing that's going to make you stand out as opposed to all of the other people out there. And I continuously say this, the future of work is passion driven. And more people are going to be cottoning onto this and tapping into the meaning economy. When robotics and AI starts to take over, people are going to be doing this. They're going to be building brands, personal brands around their passions. And if you can get a head start on this, you're going to be way ahead of the curve, my friend. And if you want to start to develop your brand in a fertile environment, check out the link below and join our community. We do calls every single month and we're supporting other entrepreneurs on this journey to passion-filled, mission-driven business so that they can thrive and take control of their future. So my friend, if you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you very soon.